And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Kassarian, and welcome to another episode of my server Let's Play. Unfortunately today, Nick is absent. Yes, that is sad. We are very sad. However, we're working on something a little bit different today. We're going to be working on bees. Don't stop. Don't run away. Don't stop. Stop. Don't run away. Okay. You guys still here? Awesome. We're going to be working on bees that are very different from the bees that you're used to. Alright? Okay. You guys okay? You still here? Good. Alright. Good. Okay. We're going to be working on bees. These bees are a little bit different than what you're used to. This is because we'll be using Gendustry today. And Gendustry is a mod that basically industrializes your bees. Genetic industry. Make sense? Makes sense to me. So the first thing we're going to need to make are some of these bee receptacles, alright? And we just made 7 of them. And we'll put them in like that. And this gets us industrial apiaries. Now these things are pretty darn cool, to be honest with you guys. I enjoy them a lot because they're apiaries that are, well, industrial. What they let you do is they have upgrades. It's a lot like how IC2 machines work. And those upgrades can do some really cool things. The downside is these things need power, alright? So we're going to have to run power over here. And, yeah. We're going to have to run power these things in order to get them working. Well, that's not too big of a deal, right? We have plenty of power coming from that rotary craft solar plant. So why don't we use some of it for our bees? Sounds about good to me. Now, Gendustry can run off, I believe it's MJ, RF, or IC2 power, or EU. Now, we're going to run it on RF, alright, because that's primarily what I'm producing here. And server tick rate's a little bit low. That's primarily what I'm producing, so that's pretty much what we're going to use to power these things, alright? And I'm going to have more than just 4. Don't worry, more than just 4. But that's just what I decided to craft up in the initial stage. So we'll put that there. That'll be our power input into those things. And we're just going to come down from there. And over through here. Now I'm going to need some more hardened energy conduit. Yeah, I'm going to need a bunch more. Ugh. I'm going to have to go over this thing. And then down over here. Alright, so we're going to need a bunch more of that junk. But that's quite alright. We can get that for our little selves without too much difficulty. So, you guys are probably wondering, what's so awesome about Gendustry that I'm wicked psyched about it? Well, Gendustry also changes the way you mutate your bees. Well, that's not entirely accurate. It doesn't really change the way you mutate your bees, but it makes it a heck of a lot easier. Alright, so let's get some of that. We're going to need some leadstone. And don't worry, we'll get to how it changes it in a little bit. Like that. That gets us 60. And do I have any? I have some Invar in here. Yoink. Let's look at uses for you. Alright, that should be enough. Not as much as I wanted, but should be enough to get us work going. So let's drop that stuff off in there. Have to remember for the next time that I have that in there. Alright. So let's get these guys hooked up and we can take a look at how they work. Now, before we even get started, there is one kind of severe limitation to these things. That limitation is basically that bees cannot mutate inside industrial apiary. Now, for anyone who's worked with bees, you can probably tell me this is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it means that once you stabilize your bees and once you put them in there we go, power's connected. They're pretty much all set and you don't have to look at them ever again. We're just going to run this conduit over to here. And we'll run this up like that. Perfect. Now, as you guys can probably attest, this is both a good thing and a bad thing if you've worked with bees. You don't have to stabilize them. They won't keep mutating on you. On the other hand, they won't mutate. So, great. Awesome. But what can you do with this that's so much better than just using, say, a bee house? Well, I need to keep automating the bee house. The first thing is, if you notice, those industrial apiaries didn't need any, what are they called? Any seed oil to produce. Alright? The other thing you can do is you can put these things in. These are... Oh gosh, where are you? Just search for upgrade. Those are remote IO, Thumbcraft, Java, Mariculture, extra utilities, factorization. There we go, Gendustry. We can put in interesting. Is it in this version? I don't know. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second here. Gendustry. Those are the emulators. Oh. Now that's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't think we have it. Huh. Oh, boy. Well, thanks, FTB. That would have been nice if we had it. In other versions, there's something called the automation upgrade. So if I pull out that queen, right, and I pull out these drones, we can run over to here. And there used to be an upgrade that basically automated it inside the block, or there should be in other versions. But apparently we don't have it in this one, which is kind of irritating. I'll have to talk to Nick about that. We can put that in there. We can put that in there. And this guy will run. Awesome. You can see he's on. There is no error. We have flowers sitting around somewhere. Always on, enable on redstone. So we have the redstone control, which is nice. And we can basically freeze these bees however we want them. Nice. Very nice indeed. Now, let's start crafting some of the other stuff we need. The first thing we're going to need to be able to do is actually mutate these bees. So we're going to need what's called a mutatron. Alright, is it a mutatron? Yes, or a mutator. But first, we need a mutagenic producer. So let's find... Where did I put it? Okay, I had this set up before I started today. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we need to get this thing working. And to do that, we're going to need these power modules. Okay, so we put one over here, and we get the mutagen producer. Nice. Now, the mutagen producer is actually kind of awesome. Let me get... Do I have a hardened tank around here? A portable tank somewhere? Reinforced portable tank. Awesome. We'll use this for right now until I actually can get a piping system hooked up. And we need one more thing. So, the mutagen producer takes energy along with... not what I wanted. Takes energy along with some sort of mutagen producing item, which in our case will be redstone blocks, and outputs Mutatron, which is a liquid mutational compound. Guy, stop. Now, the problem is that it requires a fair bit of power to do that. And more importantly, it requires a separate machine to actually mutate the bees. That would be the mutator. But for right now, we could just shove this thing down here, like that. And we can say redstone blocks. And you can see this thing can eat up an incredible amount of power. And it's going to slowly run. So uranium-235 gets you 9 buckets. Glowstone gets you 800 buckets. Bit of redstone, 100. That gets you that. A uranium block gets you that much. Mutagen gets you that much. 238 gets you 500. And a redstone block gets you 900. So a little bit less than a bucket. Not too bad. And we're slowly building up RF. And I have no doubt that this is absolutely consuming my power back at the base. And just for the sake of it, let's put our reinforced portable tank up here. Thwink. And that is an outputting. Well, we'll fix that. Don't worry. So then let's get the next item we're going to need, which is the item that actually causes mutation to occur. Now, it's pretty cool, and I pretty enjoy the way they implemented this. But we're going to kind of skip a step. So the first item we have is the mutator. All right. Now, do I have it already set up in here somewhere? I have the receptacles for it. Okay. Mutatron. Awesome. 3B receptacles. I could have sworn I had this guy set up already. But we're going to need these genetics processors for it. Alright? That's not too shabby. Okay? So I could have sworn I already set this thing up. Alright. Mutatron. So we need our genetic producer, our mutagen tank, our sturdy casing. Power module goes there, right? Power module goes in the back. We need those B receptacles, 3 of them. By the way, this thing eats an amazing amount of bronze building this stuff. Mutatron. And just 2 bronze top and bottom. Bronze and bronze. Awesome. And that gets us the Mutatron. Nice. Now we can turn it into an advanced Mutatron without too much difficulty. Why? There we go, advanced Mutatron. Alright, so we need some nether quartz, and we need those 2 other genetics processors we made. Well, we haven't made those genetics processors yet, but we're getting there, don't worry. And yes, I had so much redstone that I kind of gave up and moved the redstone into a barrel because it was becoming kind of ridiculous. I should have some pulsating chipsets over here. Why did you stop? Oh, because I told you to. Actually, while I'm recording, why don't you not do that? Because the last thing I need is my entire system deciding it's just going to run out of power on me. So let's open up this door, and we can get ourselves 2 more genetics processors. Awesome. Advanced Mutatron. So the 2 more processors go on either side like that. And we, of course, need another one of those power modules. So let's get this going. Let's get that going. Let's get that going. And then finally, we can get some more bronze. And that gets us 4 more bronze gears, which we put in the corners like so. We need 2 pieces of gold and some redstone, which is now up here, I forget. And if you notice, each of those genetic processors required a fair amount of diamonds. So this isn't exactly a cheap process to go through. 2 more U, and that should be able to get us advanced Mutatron, power module, pistons, pistons, pistons. Now we just put the pistons in. Nope. Where am I doing this? There we go. Put our pistons in to get ourselves another power module. And then the last thing we need are 4 more bronze gears. Oh my gosh. Okay, 4, 4, 16. So I need 1, 2, 3, and 1 tin. Awesome. Also awesome. You know, it might have actually been a good idea to actually set up my auto-crafting logistics pipes network before I went and did this. That might have been a good idea, but whatever. And we get ourselves the stone gears, and we convert those into bronze gears. Awesome. And now we go into the advanced Mutatron. Now the difference between the advanced and the basic version, one is cost, and the other one is that we base the advanced Mutatron, when you put 2 Bs in that can both, what's the term? That can mutate into something different, you know, 2 different options coming out of it, you actually get a choice which one you're going to produce. All right? So it's a little bit nicer. And we're just going to throw this guy right here and throw a fluid duct on that. And apparently this is outputting up here, which is not exactly what I want, but not a big deal. So let's just flip that around and get this back. And this actually should be outputting automatically. And I'm losing power because it's nighttime. Because that's the downside of a solar system. Woot! Alright, so let me come back in a few minutes once it's daytime again. And I can also hunt down why the heck I don't have the automation upgrades installed in this system. Which is kind of a little irritating. So I'll be right back. And we're back, guys. Turns out my NEI was misconfigured. Now, to get the upgrades, we're going to need these upgrade frames. Now, I just got a bunch of them. And this is the recipe for the automation upgrade. Now, if you notice, it increases energy consumption by up to 10%. Now, that's actually not really a bad thing. Yeah, it's going to eat some more power than what I'd like. But it's going to be wicked useful. Like, wicked useful. Alright. So let's take a look at this baby. You have 900 in here. How are you doing? You're still running, and you're running out of power. But we can slot in our automation upgrades, and if you notice, we can only put one of them in, because more than one would make no bloody sense. Let's do that, and that. Excuse me. And that. And that. And now, those are all automated. That has to be the fastest automation process I have ever done. We're building up RF in there now. We are stabilizing on RF in there. And that should be done in a couple minutes. Now, if you notice, it takes a whole lot of power. This is an expensive process. But it's an awesome process. So let me get one of my Meadows drones out of here. And yes, I haven't even crafted anything yet. And let's go Rocky Meadows. Ah, I can choose, but I want to breed it into a common. Now, it's not going to run yet, because we're also going to need some of this labware, which is glass panes and a diamond. Ugh. Now, mind you, you get 16 of these per diamond you use, so it's not a huge big deal for us. It does mean that Nick's probably going to yell at me for using up all of our diamonds again, but I use them for good causes. Maybe. I think I use them for good causes. Now that labware... 4. Oh, perfect. That's exactly how many I have left. So let's get our upgrade frames out of there. Our diamond goes in, and we get our genetics labware. Beautiful. And it's raining. Really? I always record, and it starts to rain. Oh my gosh. And now it's not. I think someone must have triggered a rain dissipation unit. I think a couple of the guys have automated ones, actually. So we put our labware in. And we wait for this guy to finish up. Now, once this thing runs, it's actually going to give us a common, or a queen, of the whatever species we chose. Alright, so it's going to give us a common queen with an unknown genome. Because I haven't gotten around to making the genome scanner thingy-majigger-mabobber yet. You can see these guys are running. Oh, no flowers. Right. Right. No flowers. Well, we can fix that in just a couple seconds then. Because flowers. Alright, so let me... these probably won't work. This one will. Yoink. So let's yoink that off. Let's put that down. Just like that. And this guy should realize that, you know... Maybe. No error. There we go. And those guys are now working. Now we still have 900 mutagen in there. This guy is still running. Boy. Alright, so we have our genetics, our environmental... Okay, so we're just going to have to wait now until this actually decides to run. Which is kind of a pain in the rear end, but that's what we have to do. Alright, so that's going to run. We're almost there. Should I just bring you guys back in when we're done? I don't know. Should I? You could do a lot of other cool stuff. Oh, there we go. We are now running. You could do a bunch of other stuff. We could even boost their production. Just spend more energy, boost their production. No need to deal with, you know, irritating modules and frames and all of that nonsense. Alright, so that's going to run. Now, while this is happening, why don't we get set up with some of the machines we're going to need to actually do stuff. And that's going to require more bronze. Yes, more bronze. Always more bronze. We need a lot of bronze. Alright, so I'm thinking... Yeah. Alright, so we're going to have to logistics pipe this stuff. That's absolutely fine. Let's put that in there, and let's just look up our logistics pipes recipes again. And yes, I should have done this on off camera. Logistics, there we go. And I need the basic. Alright, so I just need a golden chip set. Do I have any laying around in here? No. I have diamond chip sets, but no golden chip sets. Oh, and I could have just used the gears that were sitting in that chest instead of running out and spending a whole bunch on different gears. Whatever. Alright, so let's open that up. Get a golden. You're not running because I turned you off. Perfect. That was a good idea. And let's run back over to here. Alright. So we do this, we go back to this. Alright, so we need one of you. Do I have any sticks laying around anywhere? Not apparently. Okay. Well, that's easily enough remedied. Let's get that. And let's get that. And now we just need some glass across. Right? Is that how this works? No. Glass above. There we go. And some pipes that I don't have, apparently. Must have used all of them up. I want that. There we go. And that. Alright. Beautiful. And we get some basic logistics pipes. Now what we're going to need, I have this, is we're going to come over to here and we're going to make ourselves another one of these sturdy casings. Awesome. And now we're going to look at the centrifuge. Okay, so it's just this, some copper, some glass. Perfect. The centrifuge is basically what you do with your combs. Alright? Let's get that 5, and that makes it 6. For some reason in this mod pack, I am burning through copper. And we get ourselves a centrifuge. Perfect. Now let's run into the downstairs of our B room and actually get this centrifuge hooked up. Now, one of the issues we're going to run into here is that we need to extract out of this thing, and I'm actually fresh out of ender pearls, because I'd usually just use that. But I may end up changing this out to a... whatever it's called. Alright, so we'll just put this... You know what, I'm thinking... I think I'm just going to come down here. We'll put our centrifuge right there, alright? And then we'll put our basic logistics pipe here. And I forgot to bring some gold pipes with me. Derp. And we're going to need a basic over here. Right there. Yeah? Can I do that? Okay. This is all going to have to be moved up one. Alright, so let me just get back here and around. Like that. And we can just trim this off. And get that put up like this. And why don't I just bring you guys back when I have this all set up. And we are thankfully back, even though it is the middle of the night. Do I have my... Yeah, okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're doing this in a bit of a different way than I was originally intending, but it should work. Because we're going to actually use chassis pipes instead of basic logistics, because that'll actually allow us to pull out of this thing. So let's pull that off, and what we're going to do is we're going to put down our chassis Mark II here. And we're going to go... 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. And then we're going to put our 4 Mark I chassis pipes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so. And now we can use our golden pipe to pull back over to here. If I need more golden pipe, I'm going to have a fit. Alright, so we come over, up, over, Oh, did I not leave myself? Okay. So the floor is going to make... This is going to make the floor look a little ugly. And break our bloody thingy, but that's okay. Now, I really don't think that we want to have this allowed to loop here. Alright, so let's do that. There we go. And now we still need to come over to here. And we're out of gold pipe. Go figure. Okay, so we might as well configure this thing while we're over here, right? Alright. So the first that goes in here is our item sync module, okay? And we're going to tell it that it takes honeycomb, alright? Now we may have to fill this out for each and every one. I hope we don't, but that's okay. Now we're going to slot in our extractor module, and we're just going to say from a side, any side really, okay? And now over here, we can also slot in our extractors on these things, and hope to God they don't start pulling out stuff they shouldn't. Alright, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, and then this one goes in there. Perfect. And let's get that. And now we just need some glass across. Well, this one isn't pulling anything out yet, so that looks fine to me. Perfect. Okay, so now let's get some more gold conduit and we can hook this thing up. Partially because, if you noticed, I actually left most of my honeycombs over in this base all the way over here. And yes, there was a very good reason for that. So let's take a look at gold. 16 and 8. Let's say 16 and 8. Gets me 64. Beautiful. Boy, I remember with these gold. I remember with gold pipes, you actually had to power them with redstone. That was a pain in the rear end. Bloody pain in the rear end. Also, logistics pipes is actually really good for systems like this, where you have a lot of space you have to deal with. So, like here, I can come over. Ooh. I'm gonna need... Oh, good, I brought some. I'm like, I'm gonna need another logistics pipe. And I'm like, wait a second, I should have one. So that goes there, and then this guy connects through. Perfect. Now, in just a couple seconds, we should see all sorts of stuff come zipping down this pipe. Because this thing is actively requesting that it gets itself honeycomb. Alright? So any second now, this guy should start to run. And he's also getting power. Any second now. Right, well, let me demonstrate. Honeycomb goes in, and it'll process it. Now, I think I'm out of power again, because it's nighttime. I need to do something better than that. I really, really do. But that's not going to happen for a little while. Alright. So that's that. Now, let me run back upstairs here. I could just run back upstairs through you. Run. This is definitely not. Oh, there we go. They all showed up, see? Now, they're not running right now because there's no power to my network. Because I think that mutagenic producer is just eating up power. Alright, there we go. Mutagen. We have that many buckets. Alright, recipes. How much? 1,000 millibuckets. Let's select that. This guy's going to run, and he's going to eat my power at the same time. And we should get a common queen out of this. Common queen, pristine stock. Now what I can do is I can chuck her in there. And she's going to start running. And I'm going to need to put a flower down so these guys actually want to cooperate with me today. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. This one's running. We'll see if that one actually flops over correctly. And we can see our mutagenic producer is eating up my power and running very, very slowly. But that is absolutely fine. So let me bring you guys back when I have a little bit more to report, i.e. I've been running and AFKing for a little while. Yep. Be right back. Alright guys, it actually looks like we are out of time for this episode, but as you can see, this is actually a pretty awesome way to actually get bees that mutate in something less than a small eternity. So in the next episode, guys, we're probably going to be working on getting that auto-processing system finished, which everyone should be wicked happy about. And yeah, Nick will be joining us not the next episode, but probably the episode after that. He will be joining us once again. Right now, work is eating up all of his time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mr. Kassarian. I want to thank you all for watching. And as always, guys, happy mining.